What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards Football Sports Talk Radio. I'll be your host and producer, Logan Landers, and join me here this afternoon to break down the NFL draft prospect. Jack Bech is going to be my guy, Brian LaBelle. Brian, how's it going, man? And let's talk about this impressive wide receiver coming out of TCU representing the Horned Frogs. What'd you like about him whenever you're watching film?
He's really good off play action, really good intermediate guy. He's got great hands. He's not the fastest guy in the world. He's a sub 4.6 40 guy, but he plays a lot faster than that. In the open space, he's got good yards after the catch capability. You can go watch some of his film earlier on in the year. He played really well against Stanford. He had some breakout plays where you're making a little hesitation move. You're maybe fooling the safety with your hips, and then you're making your secondary move. And he was able to create a lot of space doing that. He has deep threat capabilities, but he's not as fast as some of these guys. Maybe you like going down the seam or going deep down the field, but I mean, he does everything else really, really well. Crisp routes, not the greatest, but they still really well. He gets where he needs to go. He seems to be on the same page with the quarterback at all times. I mean, he's physical. He's 6'1". He's bigger for a receiver, which is kind of weird in this era. You get a lot of smaller guys, but he plays bigger, I think, than he is. He's able to create space with his body, which is phenomenal as well. His hands have to be some of the strongest I've seen because the way he high points the ball, the way he's able to bring it in and hang on to it with contact and everything is spectacular. But there isn't anything I really dislike about the guy. He's not getting a ton of talk right now as far as prospects, because he's got probably 6 or 7 receivers that are ahead of him on a lot of people's draft boards. But I like his upside. I think he's got a tremendous opportunity at the next level to do really, really well.
I mean, he's just a super athletic player from what I've seen and from what I've read up on him. I mean, he's coming in like I said, 6'1", just around 215, give or take. High school was an amazing athlete. He had 2 state football titles, as well as 3 basketball titles. So, I mean, he was just doing it all on the court, on the field. It didn't matter. Great work, obviously, in high school. And he had some really good offers early on coming out of his senior year out there at St. Thomas More High School. He's going to go to Vanderbilt. Said, all right, nope, we're going to go to LSU. And he actually did really well there. As a true freshman, had 43 catches. So for whatever reasons, the next year, LSU, they didn't give him the ball as much. I know that they've had a lot of good receivers, but just kind of surprising they didn't give him the ball as much in that next season. So, Jack decided, all right, let's try somewhere else. Let's go somewhere where I can get some more touches and I can get some more plays. And he ultimately decided on the TCU Horned Frogs, who have had a solid run here in the 2020s, we'll say, have had some good teams. We know they went to the national championship game in 2022. But I think that with Jack, I mean, he could just get it done just flat out. He can get you all the yards. He can get you all the passes, thrown his way. Like I say, he's not afraid of contact. He can go up there and get it, which is what I like to see. Like I say, he's got strong hands. You can see on the screen. He's got muscles for days. So he's definitely in the weight room, putting in good work there. And he's also, too, Brian, what I like about him is he's just a clutch player. The Senior Bowl, right? He did some good work there, 6 catches, 68 yards, game-winning touchdown also. So, I mean, he was just kind of doing it all there. And like I said, he's had some good plays. He's had some really good games. Back when he was a freshman, right? 200 yards against UCF and the Knights there. So, I mean, you saw flashes of it throughout his whole career, but I mean, ultimately, I think he put up just a very solid foundation from his time at LSU and then going to TCU. We know, obviously, TCU's had some good receivers come out in the last 10 or so years, guys like who were drafted in the first round, like Josh Doctson, Jalen Reagor, Quentin Johnson, just to name a few, off of their college, talent that they have. And I think Jack Bech is right there with how well he has done at TCU. And I think that just kind of skill-wise alone, he might be better than those guys just because of, from what I've seen. He might not be the highest jumper or whatever, but I think just in terms of all around of a wide receiver, I think he's got a lot of great tools. And you're not, like I said, you're not hearing a lot about him. You're seeing a lot of, maybe later round picks or anything like that. But I think just with this year, with the draft, everyone is just so, enamored with the talented quarterbacks, the great defensive guys. Feels like the wide receivers, for the most part, kind of got the short end of the stick this season.
Yeah, I do know you can never have enough wide receivers, right?
Yep.
You never have enough guys in your receiving room because guys get banged up, things happen all the time. Having weapons at your disposal, depending on your quarterback is huge. But he's not the fastest guy. Like I said, he's not this. The speed isn't going to jump out of the screen at you. You're not going to sit here and say, "Wow, that guy can absolutely run." Um, I think a lot of the intangible stuff, I think a lot of the discipline stuff, right? Like the route running, understanding the timing of this stuff, the work related stuff, right? Having to stay a little extra after practice and make sure you get this right, make sure this timing is down, make sure I'm hitting this route precisely where I need to be when the ball is being released. That's sort of the stuff it's a discipline type thing, and that's really good to have at a college level, because a lot of these guys are just going to play based off like, hey, I'm better, I'm faster, I'm stronger than everybody, and
Mhm.
let's just go ahead and go. I don't know if you bring in a guy like Jack and say, hey, he's certainly not going to be like a Malik Neighbors where he comes in and he's your wide receiver one immediately and he's an absolute difference maker. But he could be a wide receiver two, wide receiver three out the gate that's really, really good and brings a lot to the table for any team that ends up drafting him. But I mean, as of right now, like you said, he's an under the radar kind of guy, right? He could be maybe an early day three guy as of right now. I don't watching the tape, I don't really see it. I think some team will probably scoop him up before the end of round three. But again, just the receiver depth right now that you have in the league. And then, because you get guys like Odell Beckham Jr. who are kind of still sitting in free agency, like not knowing what you're going to do with him, So
Yep.
do you want to take a draft pick on a guy like Beck? Excuse me, Jack Bech, or do you want to go out and maybe add a vet in free agency to maybe do the same thing? I don't know, but I love his upside. I like what he brings to the table. I think like his hand strength is tremendous, because it's just anytime he got his hands on the football, he didn't drop it. You know what I mean? The ball was it's a catch, and that's something that is more so underrated now, because it's sort of a given, right? Like, oh yeah, if you get your hands on it, you got to catch it. But you'd be surprised some of these guys at the high levels that still can't do that, or maybe at least as consistently as you'd like. But a guy that I reminded of, like Cooper Kupp wasn't the fastest guy coming out of college. He didn't have a lot of the pedigree, and Bech was like, hey, he was at LSU. He was getting reps year one as a freshman, putting up good numbers. I mean, he's played well everywhere he's gone. TCU was just more of like, hey, an opportunity to showcase what I have. And it worked out well for him. He's about to be a professional football player, so you can't really knock him for that. But he does a lot of the stuff, the nitty gritty stuff, and a lot of the running the routes at the right pace, cutting it out at the right moment. I mean, there's nothing I really dislike about his game. I think he's a great player.
Yeah, just my kind of final thoughts wrapping it up here today on Jack Bech, the wide receiver out of TCU. I don't know if he has maybe like that number one, wide receiver ability at this time, but I do see he is a guy who you can pretty much throw in any system. He can adapt to it. Like I said, he's going to be reliable. If you need a third down conversion, if you need to get that short first down, you just toss the ball and he'll get it for you. Like I said, he's got great hands, but he's also, once he gets the ball, he's not got blazing fast speed like you said, but he runs with authority, right? He runs for the first down. He's not going to, juke you out your shoes and run around you. He's going to run through you and get the first down. So he's just a solid player overall, I think. And whoever gets him, they're going to get a talented player. Because, like you said, with the amount of receivers that kind of come and go in the league, it's more and more. It feels like every year. And yeah, of course, you have the aging veterans who are still hoping to keep it going, keep their NFL dreams alive. But you've got guys here like Jack Bech, who's going to be a later round pick, like you said, is what he's projected as, and someone who is hoping to make an impact in the league, and I think he will if given the right team and a quarterback who, if your top receivers are getting doubled, go to this dude. I can easily see him being a guy that gets like 4 to 5 catches a ball game for 70, 80 yards, just doing light work basically, but consistent. And those guys stick around the league for a long time. He could definitely be one of those type of guys, but I mean, he's already got the strength to keep up in the league. I'm not worried about that. If he can develop, just a little bit more speed, just get a little bit quicker, do a little bit more cardio, I think that could maybe take him over the top because he's got some really good tools already. And like I said, he's not going to burn anyone. He's not going to get you the streak touchdown where he's running 50 yards. But I think that as long as he keeps kind of playing just the way he's been playing, there's not a ton to improve on because he's already just such a talented guy, and he's proven it during college, and I think it'll continue in the National Football League. But Brian, what are your final thoughts here on Jack Bech, the wide receiver coming out of TCU?
Well, if you look at his build, there's like no fat on him. You look at the
No.
pictures we have up. I mean, dude is absolutely shredded. I mean, he's very strong. He the phrase, a lot of people say he's got a dog in him. You know what I mean? That
Hmm.
if you watch him run with the football, he runs with purpose. His purpose is to get into the end zone or get as close as he possibly can. A lot of the plays, the whistle's blown a little early, and you could see him get tackled 7, 8 yards. Progress stops, and he breaks free. He's one of those guys he's like, why you blow the whistle? I'm still going. You know what I mean? I'm still going, and I love seeing that in guys. I think that's kind of a lost art. I think everybody's trying to run out of bounds and preserve your body. Which, hey, listen, that's a that's an art in its own way, staying healthy and staying available. But the way he plays, he loves it. I think he seeks contact, maybe not as negative, maybe not trying to get the other guy to take his head off, but he's like, hey, I'm gonna lower my shoulder and I'm gonna try to get past you. And I love watching him play. I think, like you said, he's a great addition. Any team would be lucky to have him because I don't think he's be your wide receiver 1, but if he can come in, be your wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, just be another option, maybe in like third and medium, third and long to come in and say, hey, you got to worry about this guy too, because I think he play inside, outside, he can do whatever you need him to do. Jack Bech, though, man, you'll hear his name. I just don't know when, but you'll definitely hear his name next weekend at some point.
He's going to be a guy, I think, also just a bunch of gang tackles, right? Not one dude. It's going to be, I think it's going to be 2 or 3 guys that have to take him down. And like you said, he's going to be more so standing up, and they're going to blow the whistle than him getting tackled, I think, just because, like I said, just look at him. He hasn't had a carb in 10 years.
You hate him because you got to keep hitting him. You don't want
I
to.
know.
You don't want to, but you got to. Yeah.
I'm not saying with a impressive physique like that, he ain't gonna get hurt. He's in tip top shape, so he's already ahead of that curve. But we'll see where he goes. Jack Bech. We'll see where he lands in the NFL draft coming up next week, and we'll see what team picks up this talented wide receiver. So for my guest today, Brian LaBelle, thank you so much for coming on the show. I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. If you guys want to check out any of our other draft prospect specials, we are kind of winding down here as the draft is coming up next week. So you got a couple more left, and then we are going to be here on draft night, April the 24th at 8 o'clock Eastern, live coverage here on the show, Facebook and YouTube. So be sure to check your reminders, put it on your calendar, and we will see you then. But we're not done here today, so stay tuned for some more great NFL draft prospect action.